Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be going through my entire Robinhood portfolio, and hopefully this gives some people out there some good investment ideas for some more stocks they may want to look into further. And as you can see here, I'm up about 56% in the last year, which I'm really proud of, and a lot of that is really from the last month. And although I have had the Robinhood account for over a year now, I had less than 1 or 2 grand over a year ago, so it really didn't move much, and you can kind of tell there that it's pretty much a straight line from before February or so of this year. And as I did mention, in the last month, my portfolio has been up over 28%, which is mostly because of Tesla, but definitely still happy about that. Over $7,000 in the last month in this portfolio, which is definitely great. And now I'm going to be going through almost all of my stocks individually. First up, we have Tesla, which is actually about 50% of my portfolio now, because I've been adding shares, as well as because Tesla's just been doing incredibly in the past month, but really over the past year now. And then I have 8 shares of Microsoft. I think with the release of Xbox, they were going to continue to do well, and I think they're just a really, really great blue chip company overall. And Google, same thing. I think they're another growth company that's going to continue to do well and an extremely safe investment. MasterCard, I see them as being a better chip company than Visa, and I just have a few shares of that. And I think as long as consumer spending continues to increase, MasterCard's not going to be going anywhere, and there's really solid growth there as well. And before I go show my next 4 stocks that I have in my portfolio, I figured some people would want to see my position in Tesla. I have 26 shares at an average cost of $261, and I do have a couple of shares in another account as well. And I also have a limit buy at $440, I believe, for 3 more shares, so I definitely want to keep investing in Tesla. This is my favorite company to invest in just because I think there's an outrageous amount of growth still out there for them, even though they're at, a $550 billion market cap or whatever it is now. But it's about 52% of my portfolio, which I never would have thought, 6 or so months ago. But the stock has just been doing incredible, and I've been adding a few more shares here and there. Going back through all of my positions in all of the different companies that I'm invested in, here we have Disney. I just have 4 shares of them. I have a decent average cost. I think it's about $110 or so. I invested in them as their revenue streams were cut, and I don't see them going away anytime soon, although their revenue is going to be hurting in the short run for the next 2, 3, maybe 4 quarters. Several years to come, they're going to be just fine. Baba, just a couple of shares here. I have an average cost of $180 or so, but I think that's really just betting on the Chinese economy doing well in the future, and it's a really great Chinese company to invest in, maybe one of the best in my opinion. And then there's Uber. I have 8 shares at a pretty good average cost of $27 or so. And I think they're really a much more solid company than Lyft, and I don't see them being taken out by something like Tesla's auto taxi or anything by Waymo anytime soon, so I see a lot of continued growth there as they approach profitability. Then there's Take-Two Interactive. You may not have heard of this one. It's a video game company that makes games like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, but the Grand Theft Auto releases are always some of the biggest video game releases really in the world every time one comes out. So as soon as one gets announced all the way till when the game comes out, I think this stock is going to continue to do extremely well. The next 4 are Activision, Salesforce, PayPal, and Tencent. Activision is another video game company. They release Call of Duty every year, and I think it's going to continue to grow, especially as they've started to establish their game presence on mobile. 3 out of these next 4 companies were really hurt by hard times this year, but I think are still going to be really strong companies overall long term. The first one being Airbus, which is in a duopoly with Boeing and is a lot bigger in Europe than Boeing here is in the United States. And they also make helicopters, which is a fun fact, I suppose. And then there's Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruise. I actually bought a few shares of each of these before March of this year, so I don't have a great average cost on these, but I think I'm still slightly positive. But I actually plan to hold these for years to come just because they have such a great dividend, or they did have such a great dividend, and I'm sure they will again within the next couple of years. And then there's AMD, which has just been doing incredible in the last few years, and I think they're going to continue to grow their market share. And next up is Crispr, which is big in DNA editing, and they're going to continue to grow as well. And that's actually one of the top holdings of ARK, which is an ETF that invests in innovation companies. And I've invested in a few ETFs before and sold out of those positions, such as Jets, which I just sold for a 60-something% profit. But ARK invests in innovation companies, and that just really screams what I want to invest in when I invest in companies. So I'm really, really happy with this one, and I'm going to hold that for probably 20 plus years and continue to add to it. Just 12 shares now, and I think it's around 5 or 6% of my portfolio. But as I said, I'm going to continue to add to it. And then I also have 4 shares of Boeing, bought into that very similarly to why I bought into Airbus. And then lastly, one of my most recent stocks that I'm buying into is Beyond Meat. And I don't know a ton about the company specifics, but they are adding a ton to their production. I think they're adding something like 40% production capacity just because they can't keep the shelves stocked with their product, which is always exciting to see for a company. So I'm going to continue to add to that position a little bit as well. And then I also just wanted to show this just for fun on Robinhood. It actually looks like I'm a little bit diversified according to Robinhood, which I think is actually pretty funny. It says I have 36% of my portfolio in consumer goods and 32% in manufacturing materials. And Tesla is in both of those categories, but what I consider Tesla to be is a tech company, which is only 19% of my portfolio according to Robinhood, and I would say almost my entire portfolio is actually tech, and I'm not very well diversified, so just thought that was kind of funny. Anyways, that was just kind of a really quick overview of all of the stocks in my portfolio. I didn't really get into any kind of specifics, but be sure to leave a comment down below if you have any questions for me, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content, and I make a ton of other brief stock analysis videos, so be sure to come and check that out if you are interested. I've made a video on most of the stocks in this portfolio. Thanks for watching to the very end.